Welcome to Classical Studies. Classics is the study of ancient Greece and Rome and the civilizations of the ancient Mediterranean. The interdisciplinary nature of classics, the part that I love best about it, is that it includes everything from mythology and etymology to ancient art and architecture, history and archaeology, language and literature, philosophy, religion. Very often in our classes we'll be looking at coins and the design of a temple and a work of literature and history all at the same time. So please visit our website at classics.ecu.edu for more information, and in this orientation video I'll try and give you a brief overview. The core courses in the classics are offered under three different prefixes. CLAS denotes classes in classical culture and civilization, such as Latin and Greek for vocabulary building, classical mythology, Greek tragedy, all of which can be used to satisfy the general education humanities requirement. Our courses under LATN and GRK indicate foreign language courses in Latin and ancient Greek, which can be used to satisfy the 4-semester requirement for the BA degree. Classics electives in other departments using history, archaeology, English, philosophy, and religious studies kinds of prefixes often usually satisfy general education requirements as well. If you'd like to do a bit more with the classics than just use it to satisfy the general education requirement in humanities or the foreign language requirement, perhaps you've got a major in another subject and you'd like to look at a minor in classics, the place to begin is by remembering that there is a foreign language cognate requirement in classics. That is that we assume that you'll be using Latin or Greek to satisfy your foreign language requirement if you're a BA student. Now, if you're a BS student who doesn't have a foreign language requirement, these two courses are still required, but you'll get to count them under the electives down below. Among the 18 hours that do count directly towards our minor in classical studies, there's a 9-semester hour core consisting of one course in Greek or Roman literature, a course in Greek or Roman history, and the senior seminar in classics. And then there are 9-semester hours in electives, which can be taken from among any of our Latin, Greek, or classics courses, or from the list of electives from faculty who work with the classics program on classical art, archaeology, history, literature, philosophy, and religion. One of the things that classics students learn as they go along is that if you really want to get serious about it, you need to have more language experience. And after you've gotten to the upper levels of Latin, you'll begin to say to yourself, gee, I wish I had a little bit of Greek too. So in this sample 4-year plan for the more language-intensive classics version of the degree, you can see that we encourage students to take both Latin and Greek when they come as freshmen. Now that's sort of an aggressive and risky move. Maybe you just want to do one language or the other. But I do want to encourage you to start at least one of the foreign languages as a freshman so that you can see whether you like it or not. If it's not for you, it's not for you, that's fine. But if it is, you'll find that when you've got more time as an undergraduate to take more advanced language, you get an awful lot more out of your classics experience. So in the first year, that's what we would recommend. In the second year, you'd take the Greek and Latin levels 3 and 4, and then by the time you get to the junior year, you've got room for all of these other things that you might want to do. You can take upper level Greek or Latin, you can do the literature surveys and the history courses on Greek and Roman history, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to find out whether you'd like to take the classics more seriously. If you don't want to do all that language as a freshman, why, you can certainly develop a plan that's more suited to your own preferences. And if you go to this website down here at the advising site, they'll also have a sample plan for the classical civilization concentration. One of the great things about this BA in multidisciplinary studies and our concentrations in classics is that it's very possible to do a double major with other degree programs. And we have a lot of students who are interested in things like archaeology. We've got 4 courses offered by our faculty in anthropology that would double count between a major in classics or classical civilization and a second major in anthropology, where you might study methods of archaeology. They've got courses on death and disease in the classical world, the archaeology of the Old Testament world and the New Testament world, and a very popular course on pyramids, pharaohs, and mummies, the archaeology of ancient Egypt. When people hear the words ancient Greek, the first thing they think about is reading the New Testament. If you're interested in religious studies, there's another multidisciplinary studies concentration in religion that you can pursue, and a lot of our students take advantage of that as their double major, because both Greek and 5 other religion courses could possibly count towards that major, and so it's an easy one to sort of double up on. In addition to those courses on the archaeology of the Old Testament world and the New Testament world, they have 3 other courses that you might use, including this one you see here that's double listed in classics and religious studies on spells, sex spells and sacrifices, religion in the classical world, as well as courses on Paul and his letters and the life and teachings of Jesus. If you're a literature lover, there's an even better opportunity to double major in English or in the great books. In the great books, we happen to have 6 of our courses that could count towards their 30 semester hour major. So the introduction to classics, the surveys in ancient Greek literature and Roman literature, ancient Greek tragedy, the classics senior seminar, all of those courses could double count between a major in classics and a second major in great books. And a lot of our faculty are actually on both committees and are interested in both programs. Our MA in history also has a classics track that allows students to use up to 4 courses towards their master's degree in history. And so a lot of our students want a double major in both history and classics as undergraduates. There are even more courses that you could double count towards a history second major than any other degree program. In addition to the 2 Greek and Roman history classes, there are 6 other classes that could potentially double count. War and Society in ancient Greece and Rome, a history of Christianity, the Middle Ages, the ancient Near East, the Renaissance and European history, and maritime history of the West to 1415. Many of the most important texts from the ancient world are in the field of philosophy, and so there are pictures here of Plato, of a text by Lucretius, and of Cicero's Dream of Scipio. And so we have a number of students, a number of our best students who double major in ancient philosophy and classics. And there are 3 courses that the philosophy department offers that are also accepted towards classics. There's a Great Philosophers from Antiquity to the Present, and upper division courses in ancient philosophy and medieval and Renaissance philosophy. If what you really love is languages, and you think you might want to take some modern language like French or German or Russian or something like that, the BA in Foreign Languages has a global studies concentration that would allow you to count Latin or Greek levels 3 and 4 towards a double major in that degree program. And a lot of our students like to take advantage of our special living learning communities and study abroad programs in foreign languages, so it's also a very popular double major. When people ask me what I do for a living, I always joke that I teach dead languages. But the truth of the matter is that the classics is one of the best kinds of educations that you can get. It prepares you not particularly well for just one thing, like a doctor of dentistry prepares you to be a dentist. It prepares you generally for life in a way that's going to make you stand out as an employee no matter what profession you go into. But people always wonder, what can I do with this degree? If you had to tell somebody you were getting a degree in classics, they would look at you like, what's that? Well, here's what some of our graduates have gone on to do. We've had people who have been university professors, history teachers at the elementary and community college level. They've gone on to graduate school in history and classics, art and archaeology. We had a Byzantine art historian and archaeologist. We've had people become museum curators, historical preservationists, librarians, archivists, gone into archaeology as a profession, gone to medical school, law school. We had a Washington political consultant caught up in a scandal. We've had people go into marketing and publishing and journalism, media, communications. Classics is an excellent preparation for any other kind of advanced study because it just forces you to think outside the box, to be a careful reader and someone who can use language in an articulate way so that you stand out in whatever profession you may be interested in as a postgraduate career. One of the things we teach in the classics is to have an inherent distrust of things like wealth and power and fame. But since 2/3 of the students who come into this university are interested in becoming doctors or going to law school and making some money in this world, the one thing you ought to know is that when people see that you're major was classics, or that you had a double major in classics and biology or classics and philosophy, or that you did a pre-law or pre-health curriculum alongside whatever other degree you had. Classics stands out. When people see that, they know that you have these great analytical skills, that you're a creative thinker, you have a scholarly side, you're a serious person, but you also have a humanities side. I mean, one of the things people always want to know about doctors is, can they actually interact with patients on the humane level? And graduates of the classics are ideally suited to use these both sides of their brain. Not only do you have this appreciation of the connection between language and reason that's great for law school, but you also have, this sort of interdisciplinary education that looked at the whole aspect of the ancient world. So if all of this interests you and you'd like to know more about the classics, get in touch with me. My email is stevensj@ecu.edu. And introduce yourself to me. Let me know what you'd like to do. Let me know what you're interested in. And one of the things I'll probably say to you is, have you had any Latin before? Because if you had Latin in high school, you probably don't belong in level 1, and I can help you start off and get some free credits in Latin. If you can place into level 3 or level 4, as soon as you pass that class, you'll get bypass credit for the other levels. So if you placed in level 3, for instance, when you pass level 3, you're going to get 9 semester hours of credit. You'll get the 3 semester hours for Latin 3, and then you'll get 3 more for Latin 1 and 2 as well. So we don't really have a placement test anymore. I just send you basically what you're looking at on the screen here. That, if you know the declensions of your nouns and adjectives, basic verb conjugations, uses of the participles, and the first half of Latin grammar that deals with indicative verbs, maybe Latin 2 is the right place for you. If, on the other hand, you've taken all of Latin grammar and you know the uses of the infinitive, indirect statement, dependent clauses with the subjunctive, what a gerund and gerundive are and how to use them, and you're ready to read Latin prose, maybe you belong in level 3. So read over what you see on the screen here, and when you contact me, you're welcome to just tell me what level you think you belong at, or I'll send this to you again and you can think about it some more. Because it can give you a jump start on your education and let you acquire some credits for free. And I look forward to hearing from you. I hope that the classics is something you would like to major in or double major in. It's one of the best educations ECU has to offer, and I recommend it to you strongly.